The summer sun beat down hard on the wide, dusty fields of Willow Creek, Georgia. It was harvest season, and the air smelled of sweat, soil, and diesel. The rumbling of massive machinery echoed across the fields, until suddenly one of the main cotton gins choked, clanked, and fell silent. Inside the operations tent, CEO Douglas Hartley scowled at the report. He had flown down from New York to oversee the launch of his new agricultural automation project. Investors were watching closely. A single breakdown could cost millions, or worse, ruin his spotless reputation. "Who the hell was watching Unit 7? Douglas barked, his blue eyes scanning the faces of foremen and supervisors. "We lose an hour. I lose patience." "Sir, it's not just any clog. That thing's internal compressor blew," replied Chuck, a grizzled technician. "It'll take days to replace." Douglas slammed his tablet onto the table. "Unacceptable. Get someone, anyone, who knows how to fix it. I don't care if they're a damn magician." Just then, a quiet voice spoke from the edge of the tent. "I might be able to fix it, sir." Heads turned. It was a skinny teenager, maybe 17, standing in worn-out boots and jeans dusted with red clay. His t-shirt had a faded John Deere logo. He held a battered toolbox in one hand. "You," Douglas scoffed. "You look like you barely finished high school." The boy didn't flinch. "Name's Elijah. I help out with machines back on my daddy's farm down the road. Seen compressors like that before. I can try." The CEO rolled his eyes. "Listen, kid, this is a multi-million-dollar prototype. We don't need guesses." But Chuck stepped forward. "With respect, sir, the boy knows engines. If we're out of options, let him try." Douglas exhaled, tapping his watch. "Fine. You've got 20 minutes. If you mess it up worse, you'll be paying for it in cows and corn, understood?" Elijah gave a nod and walked out, toolbox swinging. Workers followed him like skeptics to a show, murmuring among themselves. At the broken machine, Elijah wiped sweat from his brow and opened the panel. He didn't panic or hesitate. His hands moved with quiet confidence, checking wires, listening to the hum of the motor, reading the signs like they were second nature. "Where'd this kid learn that?" someone whispered. "Didn't he say his dad runs a farm nearby?" "Yeah, but you'd think he was trained in Detroit or something." 20 minutes later, the machine roared back to life. The crowd erupted. Even Chuck clapped. Douglas stepped forward, stunned. "That's impressive," he admitted begrudgingly. "Where exactly did you say you learned this?" Elijah looked him square in the eye. "From my father. He built most of the equipment on our land himself." Douglas frowned. "What's his name?" Elijah paused for a second, then said calmly, "Elijah Sr. folks call him the Machine Whisperer." Douglas paled. That name sounded familiar. Too familiar. Douglas Hartley stood frozen. "Elijah Sr.?" he echoed, trying to place the name. Elijah nodded and began packing up his tools, unbothered by the CEO's sudden silence. "Yeah, my dad's worked on machines since before I was born. Designed half of what we use today." Chuck scratched his chin, eyes wide. "Wait a minute. You mean Elijah Green? From Green Acres?" A ripple of recognition swept through the group. Even Douglas's jaw twitched. Green Acres wasn't just a farm. It was a legend in Southern agriculture. Farmers across Georgia swore by the innovations developed there, from self-correcting irrigation rigs to motorized harvesters that ran on solar power. "Hold on," Douglas said, stepping closer. "Your father is that Elijah Green?" Elijah didn't look impressed. He doesn't talk much about his inventions. Says they're just tools to get the real work done. The CEO's mind spun. Years ago, during his rise to the top, Douglas had tried to poach Green for one of his early tech startups. Sent letters, made calls, even offered stock options. Green never responded. Word was the man turned down a 7-figure deal just to keep his family land independent. Douglas had dismissed him as a stubborn old farmer. Now his son had just fixed a machine his own engineers couldn't decode. "You're telling me your father let you learn all this just working alongside him?" "He didn't let me," Elijah said. "He expected it. Where I'm from, you don't sit around waiting for someone else to fix your problems." The crowd was listening closely now. Some workers exchanged glances. The rich city CEO being schooled by a farm boy? This was getting interesting. Douglas tried to regain his footing. Well, maybe it's time your father had a conversation with me. We could use minds like his, or yours, on our team. Elijah raised a brow. You offering me a job? Douglas smirked. I might be. You've got skill, and we've got resources you won't find on a family farm. The teen took a deep breath and looked out toward the horizon. The sun was lower now, dipping toward the pine tree line. I don't do suits and boardrooms, sir, but I would be willing to help, for a price. Douglas chuckled. You're already negotiating? No, I'm laying boundaries. Elijah's voice was firm. You don't disrespect where someone comes from, especially if you don't know what that place built. Chuck chuckled under his breath. Smart kid. Just then, a black pickup truck rumbled down the dirt road toward the site. It parked beside the field. A tall man stepped out, broad shoulders, gray beard, denim overalls. His presence made even Douglas stand straighter. Elijah, the man called out. Elijah turned. Over here, Pop. Douglas watched the older man approach, his gut tightening. Elijah Sr. had the kind of walk that didn't rush, but carried the weight of a man who knew he was respected. His dark eyes locked onto Douglas, and for a second, the CEO was no longer the most powerful man in the field. Mr. Hartley, Elijah Sr. said, voice deep and calm, you still trying to buy what you don't understand? Douglas extended a hand, trying to play it cool. Mr. Green, it's been years. I didn't expect to meet you like this. Elijah Sr. didn't take the hand. I figured. The air was thick, not with hostility, but history. Elijah Jr. looked between the two men. You two know each other? Elijah Sr. gave a short nod. He tried to buy our designs once, thought money could replace roots. Douglas felt the sting but forced a smile. And yet here we are. Your son just saved my entire operation. Elijah Sr. cracked a rare smile. Sounds like something he'd do. He's got the gift, but he also knows what matters more than tech. What's that? Douglas asked. Dignity, the older man replied. Respect, purpose. And with that, he turned to walk away with his son, leaving the CEO standing in the dust of his own pride. The next morning, the machines ran like clockwork. No sputters, no breakdowns. Elijah Jr.'s quick fix had saved Douglas Hartley's launch day, and word traveled fast. Investors called with congratulations. Engineers sent him messages asking who solved the compressor issue. But Douglas had no answers that fit into his usual corporate success story. Instead, he sat alone in the operations tent, sipping bitter black coffee, staring out at the fields, and thinking. Later that afternoon, a knock at the trailer door interrupted his thoughts. Elijah Sr. stepped in, ducking slightly under the frame. He wore the same denim overalls, a weathered ball cap tucked under his arm. You wanted to talk? He asked. Douglas stood quickly. Yes, thank you for coming, Mr. Green. I didn't come for you. My boy asked if it was worth hearing you out. I told him, sometimes it is. Douglas tried to sound confident. I'm offering you and your son a partnership. Your designs, our backing. We could build something revolutionary together. Bring Green Acres technology into the global market. Elijah Sr. folded his arms. You mean slap a new label on our work and send it off to factories? No, I mean true partnership, with your name on it, your control, equity, board seat, the works. The older man's eyes narrowed. Why the change of heart? Douglas hesitated, then sighed. Because your son humbled me. Because yesterday I realized I've been so focused on buying innovation that I forgot where real genius comes from. Experience, tradition, roots. Things I don't have. The room was quiet. Outside, machines hummed and harvesters buzzed. Finally, Elijah Sr. walked to the window and looked out at the red dirt horizon. You ever plant something, Mr. Hartley? He asked. Douglas blinked. Not really. Then let me teach you something. He turned, voice steady. You don't force the soil to grow. You respect it. You give it what it needs. And if you're lucky, it gives back more than you asked for. That's how I raised my son. That's how we run our farm. Douglas nodded slowly. Then let me do it right this time. I don't want to buy your roots. I want to help them grow. Elijah Sr. studied him a moment longer. You've got a long way to go, but my son seems to believe in second chances. At that moment, Elijah Jr. entered carrying 2 bowls of peach cobbler. "Thought y'all might be hungry," he said with a grin. "Mama says no deals should be made on an empty stomach." Douglas chuckled as he took the bowl. "Your mama's a wise woman." They all sat down at the small fold-out table. 2 farmers and a CEO, sharing stories between bites of warm cobbler and cold tea. No contracts, no signatures, just mutual respect. 3 months later, a press release shocked the agi-tech world. Green Hartley Innovations launches in Georgia, a partnership of rural genius and corporate resources. Photos showed Elijah Jr. leading a training session for engineers, explaining soil-smart harvesting rigs. Elijah Sr. posed beside the first machine fully built on their land. And in the background, Douglas Hartley stood proudly, not in a suit, but in a ball cap and work boots. He wasn't just investing in machines anymore. He was investing in people, and all because one black farmer's son picked up a toolbox and reminded a CEO what real value looked like.